Well, as I was saying, on Wednesday, Trump was reportedly ready to drag America into Israel's war. By Thursday, he began having second thoughts. I guess it was Taco Thursday. Trump issued a statement saying on Taco Thursday that it might take 2 weeks before I make my final decision. Why? Why did he reverse course? Because that bunker buster is starting to look less and less like the quick fix he stupidly believed it would be earlier in the week. And that is why we are now hearing that Iran and the United States are negotiating. U.S. Special Envoy and Manhattan real estate attorney Steve Witkoff is reportedly in constant contact with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. The two were negotiating a nuclear deal. They weren't getting anywhere when Israel launched its attack last week. I mean, those talks had pretty much gone nowhere, but we were negotiating. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi is flying right now to Geneva to meet with foreign ministers from France, Great Britain, Germany, and the European Union. There's now talk that the White House is quietly pushing Tehran on agreeing to an outside consortium to handle Iran's entire nuclear energy program, so there's never any concern that Iran might go ahead and produce a bomb. Trump is reported to have held several meetings inside the Situation Room with his national security team made up of, and this is very interesting, this is what we're hearing now. I'm being told his closest advisors now when it comes to Iran are J.D. Vance, who is against invading Iran. He was also against the bombing campaign on the Houthis. He's an isolationist. I know, not a fan of J.D. Vance. He's a racist. He's a dangerous racist. But he's been consistently against foreign intervention in Yemen and now Iran. He's one of Trump's closest advisors right now. CIA Director John Ratcliffe, he is one of Trump's closest advisors right now in the Situation Room, telling Trump, if you kill the Ayatollah or if you bomb Iran, they will pivot and actually make a nuclear weapon. He's one of the closest advisors. His closest advisor is also the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane, and Special Envoy, Manhattan real estate attorney Steve Witkoff. Defense Chief Pete Hegseth, we're hearing, is also in the Situation Room, not talking. And our Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is frozen out of the process. She's not being included. There are reports that Trump has soured on Pete Hegseth, doesn't think Hegseth can be trusted, and Trump has zero interest in consulting with Tulsi Gabbard, our Director of National Intelligence, when it comes to deciding what the next step will be on Iran. The thinking is that Trump wants to eliminate the position of Director of National Intelligence and wants to concentrate. We have about 18 separate intelligence agencies. The State Department has an intelligence agency. The Defense Department has its own intelligence agency. The Department of Energy has its own intelligence agency. And then there's the CIA, there's the National Security Agency, and they all fall under the umbrella of the Director of National Intelligence. The head of the Director of National Intelligence is Tulsi Gabbard. Trump wants to get rid of that position. It was created by George W. Bush, and he wants all intelligence to run through the Central Intelligence Agency. And he seems, for the time being, to like John Radcliffe, who is the head of our CIA, for the time being. They're doing a lot of firing over at the CIA, and the idea is they want to remake the CIA in Donald Trump's image, God help us. So privately, we're hearing that the White House, when it comes to the Middle East, talks about the quartet, the four major players. They are J.D. Vance, Witkoff, the real estate attorney, CIA Director John Radcliffe, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane. That's the quartet Trump is supposedly relying on. Those are the four people Donald Trump trusts. Gabbard, he doesn't listen to. Hegseth, doesn't listen to. Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State, and he's also our national security advisor. Trump doesn't trust him. Political rival. So Marco Rubio, not part of the quartet. It looks like Trump is going to take 2 weeks before making the decision. Then again, by the time you hear this, he may have already bombed Iran. Again, Trump, at first, initially, excited about joining Israel in the airstrikes, thinking this would be an easy win, right? Because first couple of days, it looks like Israel is winning. Not sure what they're winning, but now we're beginning to see that bombing Iran is less appetizing, especially for the United States. And remember, that was Trump's first instinct. He was advising Netanyahu against the attack. He was against the attacks until after the first day of Israel's bombing campaign, when he saw how successful the attacks appeared at first blush, when he saw Netanyahu going on television and declaring we have control of Iran's airspace, and was talking tough. And then Trump said, I want to do that. I want in on that. But now close advisors are reportedly telling Trump there is not as much upside to bombing Iran as you had hoped. The Guardian reporting that several top United States defense officials have warned Trump privately that if you greenlit the mission to destroy the Fordo nuclear facility, it might require not one, but several bunker busters and quite possibly a small tactical nuclear weapon to finish the job. Yeah, they haven't told you about that. But privately, they're saying, yeah, that 30,000-pound bunker buster, it may require dropping a couple of those, and we'll need to put a little tactical nuclear bomb down there as well. Retired Major General Randy Manner, he's a former deputy director of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. He's now telling The Guardian that eliminating the Fordo uranium enrichment facility is not the holy grail Trump was first led to believe it was. And he said that while destroying Fordo would set Iran's nuclear ambitions back a few months, Iran will still be able to reconstitute its nuclear ambitions. They would just have to do it someplace else. And as our CIA director is reminding Donald Trump, they're going to want to do it now. General Manner said using the bunker buster would make great television. That's what he said. But it's not going to put an end to Iran's nuclear program, their nuclear bomb program. This is why Keir Starmer, the United Kingdom's prime minister, is quietly urging Donald Trump to step back, don't rush into anything. He's advising, see how the talks with Iran in Geneva go. They're talking to Iran Friday. Fred Merz, Germany's new chancellor, is adamantly opposed to Iran becoming a nuclear power. He has said openly that Israel, by attacking Iran this week, was doing the dirty work that needed to be done, but he too advising Trump, don't get involved. So where are the Democrats on this? Why are the doves in the Republican Party? Where are the doves in the Democratic Party? This is why Tulsi Gabbard left the Democratic Party. Well, there is Senator Jack Reed, and he's a veteran. He's not getting the press he deserves. He's the ranking Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee. And so far, he seems to be the only Democrat I've heard speaking out against Israel striking Iran. I know we hear a lot from Democrats saying Congress must decide, but are we hearing that many Democrats leave a comment saying Israel is wrong for attacking Iran? And more importantly, Senator Jack Reed pointed out that none of this would be happening right now if Donald Trump hadn't pulled out of Obama's 2015 nuclear deal with Iran. Remember that? Donald Trump pulled out of the nuclear deal with Iran. He did that in 2018. I don't think Trump, and again, by the time you hear this, he may already be bombing Iran, but I don't think he's going to. But I also don't think he's capable of admitting he was wrong for pulling out of Obama's nuclear deal 10 years ago. The same way he can't bring himself to admit he was wrong for pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords. He will never admit he's a moron. So, what do I hope is going to happen? What do I think is the best case scenario? I think in the end, I'm hoping Iran and the United States end up with a deal similar to the one Obama struck with Iran 10 years ago. It wasn't perfect, but what's going on now is a lot worse. The current regime in Iran is getting older. The Ayatollah is in his mid-80s. Soon he's going to shuffle off. And there is hope that moderates inside the government will assume power as the hardliners, people like the current Ayatollah who have ties to the 1979 revolution, as they die off, there is hope that moderates within the government will take care of Iran. But time and patience and talking and negotiations will eventually solve the Iran problem the same way it solved the Soviet Union problem. Is Iran in need of regime change? Absolutely. But so is the United States. And I'm not sure bombing Iran will make things better. In fact, I know it will make things worse. It always does. It always does. Trump will never learn or admit this. His voters won't either. But breaking things just because it feels good, only leaves you with things that are broken. That's all breaking things. When you take a wrecking ball to something, you only end up with broken things. The solution is talking, and talking. Even when it seems to get you nowhere, you need to keep talking. Sometimes talking is the point. Sometimes you cannot fix things, so you just have to talk. Dial back the temperature and not drop any bombs. Talk, negotiate. Because the alternative is too horrible to imagine. It's too horrible for you and me to imagine. So luckily, we don't have to imagine. We can just turn on our television and take a look at Gaza. I'm David Feldman, reminding you to stay strong and protect the weak. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to try to do a show tomorrow. Although I do think, and I'm always wrong, that things may be calming down, at least maybe. As I'm talking, I'm sure he's bombing Iran right now. It's not funny, but I'm probably going to try to do a show tomorrow. Thank you for listening.